Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. This is a stock that I'm going to be talking about today, CCL, Carnival Cruises. Now, you probably have heard about it if you're in North America, and you might have even got or seen one or got on board on one or know someone who did for Carnival Cruises. This is one of the biggest companies that got impacted as soon as the pandemic started. The media really took a hit on this one and kept just punching in with COVID cases being really high in things like cruise ships and them basically being a petri dish of diseases. Now, fast forward a little bit to around 2 years after the pandemic, or a year and a half. Cruises of Carnival are currently trading a little bit lower than it did back in June when they were announcing their different cruises going on back in action. And you're able to see here, I'm not going to go who they are, you're able to easily look it up. The media itself had really taken over with reporting on them almost every other news. Even if you're not into stocks, they will still report on it. But basically the latest news, including them buying back shares. So for instance, just on the 18th of November, they purchased back 220,000 shares at around $14 per share. And the day before, they purchased around 182,000 shares at around an average of 14.33 per share. Now, if we were to take a look quickly into some of their numbers there, so of course in 2020 they took a massive hit. Well, of course, it's the pandemic. They didn't really fly or didn't really use much of their vessels anyway. So we expect massive losses, and that's what we see for the year ended for November 30th in millions. You're able to see, yes, they had around 18 billion, 20 billion, and then just 5 billion in revenue. Now, that's around 3.7 billion of passenger tickets and onboards, and other around 1.9 billion. Now, what we do anticipate for this one here is some of these amounts are probably going to be moving forward to 2021 because their operations might not be as significant as 3.7 billion, and that's understandable. Now, their net losses, that's anticipated that they really took a hit, and we all know that, so that's nothing kind of significant on there that we didn't know. There was a lot of actually movement for the stock in terms of assets itself and trying to stay afloat, but in terms of the latest news for this company, there are actually a few. So for instance, Queen Elizabeth basically embarks on 17 new international voyages, and you're able to see as well that they are really trying to push, even on investor side, their current basically schedules for different cruises they have. So this one here, the Queen Elizabeth, for instance, key voyage is starting off or departing on February 2022 and moving on all the way until May. So that is the current kind of anticipation of the schedule itself. And hopefully it does go on and remain. So there is different things, for instance, like vaccine certificates, especially the ones that are actually debarking out of Florida. I know Carnival Cruises did have some that they were going off on Florida. So they also have different things. For instance, vaccine expands to kids. They're going to be as well participating in some parts of that to help families embrace traveling together. The cruise line's latest offering allows kids 5 to 17 sailing as third and fourth guests in the same stateroom to cruise for free. So they are definitely trying to boost that cruise line industry themselves and bring in people towards their cruise lines. Now, for myself, I haven't heard such negative things about their sailings in general. I know there's been a lot of delays and profits are probably not going to still be as good as anticipated for 2021. The media itself has covered a lot about that. So if one of them just kind of misses out, but basically misses out in terms of deadlines for 2021 or 2020, they have been bombarding that news. But currently, the itineraries are mainly in 2022 as shown, and you're able to see as well that the current price over book is quite cheap, is 1.56, so it's around half undervalued. Price over sales, it's definitely not fair to compare 2020, but if you were to compare 2020 as a baseline for the years to come, it is highly overvalued. But again, it's 2020. It's a pandemic year that got hit hard. The Carnival Cruises industry really hit hard. So you got to think about the future. So price over sales, might not be a fair metric to compare this one with others. Now, in terms of institutional buyers, we're able to see that this one does have a significant institutional buyer presence. It's a bigger company, it has a bigger cap. It's listed currently on the SP 500 and has a market cap of around 23 billion. So definitely bigger names are interested in this one. Now, a quick thing as well, just to show you the kind of state of the current cruise schedules. So this one was on November 16th, 2021. Carnival Cruises canceled due to scheduled maintenance. Multiple of them were canceled in 2022 between April 23rd and May 21st. And their voyages for the customers have been canceled and rescheduled. So some of that has been happening, and I do anticipate that to be somewhat of a revolving realm for a lot of these vessels that haven't been really taking a lot of people over the last 2 years. Now, another thing here, this is from, I believe, Carnival.com, Carnival Cruises Line refund and cancellation policies, and you do see some of them relating towards the pandemic itself, but they have actually canceled a lot of different cruises in general, all the way up to December 16th. So hopefully the 2022 doesn't get canceled and it's a good year for them, but so far 2021 doesn't look to be the year where they bounce back, but hopefully in the future they would move on forward with 2022 and bounce back into the industry. Now we're going to take a look into technical analysis, but before doing so, make sure if you enjoy this video to click the subscribe button on the bottom right corner and leave notifications on for this channel. Also, don't forget to drop a like to this video if you've enjoyed it so far, and you can join our Discord to chat a bit more about this one in the description below. Now, from a technical analysis perspective, there are a few things that are interesting to us. First off, this ADX, the average directional index, is starting to suggest that this is at a critical level, that it might be more of a negative trend. As you get to see, it went from 25.22 all the way down to 20.49, around $5 off, but it does appear to be a trend, and the ADX does suggest that it's beginning or on the verge of beginning to be a trend. William% R is currently oversold, so it's at a critical level around 88. It's, by the way, very similar to William% R, the William% R to the Relative Strength Index, or RSI. So this stock definitely has more supply than there is demand currently, and it's bound to correct itself, and when it does, you might see a lot more demand than supply at this level. MACD is seeing that the stock is currently balancing out on the histogram. You might anticipate a positive reversal, not this week or maybe coming up week at the end of it, or early the week after. Momentum is currently negative at negative 2.68. The last time it's been like that, it was back on the 21st of October and back on the 13th of October, around this realm here. You get to see it bounce back a little bit up, but then slid down significantly. Mainly probably towards cancellations that happened, but also they're trying to buy back programs on the last 2 trading days, and that might be a bit of a bounce that they've seen, although they're buying around $14 per share rather than the $20. Now, another thing here we're taking a look at is stochastic fast and stochastic slow. They're both kind of on the bottom, trying to curve upwards, suggesting this might be an interesting time to buy. Now, on the moving average bands, we're able to see 24.79 on the top and 20.28 on the bottom is where you're expecting to trade for this one. Currently, it's at the bottom, and it seems that every time it does hit the bottom, it does bounce back towards the top and propagates around there. So it might be a nice time to buy if you were in for a quick buck. But in terms of the longer kind of trends, you're able to see this stock is currently propagating between $17.95 and around $13.16, but more likely $25. Fibonacci retracements shows a significant support at $18.22 and $7.80. Resistances are at $24.66, $30, $35.08, $42.49, and $51.93. On a price line action, we're able to see some significant supports and resistances. The first one is a 1992. So the 1992, if it does break, you're more likely going to go to 1845, then down to 1609, to 1359, to 1202, and then down to 1102. Now, I don't think this is likely. Now, currently, we're looking at a better future around 2022 where profits are most likely going to be realized. 2021 was bad, 2020 was worse, and so this company I don't think is going to go under at this point, and I think it's going back and regain some of the losses. Now, current resistance after that is $24, $25.33. If it does break it, you might be going to $27, $29, $30, and then up to $31.39. Now, I don't have any analyst recommendations as of now. The server seems to be a bit down. We might be getting something here. But anyway, average price target is at $30. That's 46.41 price upside percentage-wise. It currently has a buy for 3 analysts, 4 holds, 1 sell, and an average analyst rating off hold. Now, there has been a lot of action for this company. But the overall thing has been a look into the recovery of the cruising industry. Now, we do anticipate that the Carnival history, or the cruises history in general, will be somewhat similar to what you see in 2 or 3 years, even though it did dip from around almost $70 down to $40 pre-pandemic. We do anticipate for it to reach back at least at the $30 or $40 levels in the next 2 years or so. And I know we are spoiled a little bit back in 2020, where all you want to see is a stock going from 780 all the way to 700 in 2 days, but stocks like this that are grouped up or held up by the SP 500 don't typically see much of a movement like this unless you're Elon Musk or Tesla. Now, for this stock, I do anticipate a bit of a growth, but it has a bit of danger. 2021 results for the full year are mostly going not to be reflecting a massive net profit or net profit alone, but 2022 is the area we're looking at. What do you think is going to happen here? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day.